Hello everyone, welcome to the Bunny Nose. This is Chef Tucker, and today we are going to be talking about pan-seared whole fish. It's a fairly simple recipe. I've been making this recipe for many years now, and so quickly talk about the fish. I'm working with a Key West grunt, and that fish is about 13 inches long, and on the flavor scale I'd probably give it a 6.5, maybe 7. So it's a pretty good tasting fish. Not the best, certainly not the worst. So it's got very good flavor, and when we pan sear it, we will make it even better. So let's get our ingredients prepared. See what we have here. Okay, we have your basic salt, pepper, Old Bay, lime, flour, garlic, Coke, any kind of cola, yes. As for a marinade, we'll be talking about that. Oils, important thing is to make sure you have 2 of those. You know, peanut and corn, peanut and olive, if you choose that way. Make sure the olive oil is light because, as you may be aware, extra virgin olive oil has a tendency to burn, so it's not good for frying. And if we look quickly at what we need to do here, we just simply rinse and dry the fish. And talking about the fish, of course, the most important thing is to make sure it is fresh. You know, I catch my own fish the majority of the time, so I know they are always fresh. And if I catch more than I can eat, even after I give some away, I have to freeze them. And this fish here, I had to freeze for about a week. So if you have a market that you trust, that you like, that's perfectly fine. Just make sure the fish is fresh. Now, how can you tell? Well, first thing is to look the fish in the eyes. You know, the eyes never lie. Make sure that eyeball's nice and clear and bright. If it's cloudy or murky, leave it there. Second thing you want to do is smell the fish. What should fish smell like? No, it should smell like fish and nothing else. It should not smell like any bleach or any mercury type of smell. If it smells off and what it should smell like, leave it there. It's not fresh, probably previously frozen a few times. So that is step number 1, make sure that fish is fresh. Okay, so after we have our ingredients prepared, we are going to do the standard vertical cuts for any pan-seared whole fish. But what I also like to do is do the horizontal cuts. So if we take a look at the fish, you can see I already prepared some of the vertical cuts, and that is garlic and oil that I rubbed in there. Just want to show you what that looks like. You don't need to be very fancy with your cuts. Just make them, you know, depending on the size of the fish. Here I'm only going to make about, 3 or 4 on each side. And then I'm going to do my horizontal cuts. You won't find that on any other pan-seared recipe. I like to do it because it creates cubes. And what that does allows you to eat with your fingers. Chop up some garlic, let that soak in olive oil for about 15-20 minutes. Allows the garlic to get soft. What you want to do is press into the fish. Get it in there good. You don't have to be very neat, but just press it in there. Then we're just going to season a little bit of salt on both sides. And we're going to do a little bit of, I like to use a little garlic salt or garlic powder as well. A little bit of onion powder, pepper, and a little bit of lime. And just rub it in the fish. So once we have that done, we will prepare our marinade. Okay, let's look at the marinade ingredients. We have garlic salt, Old Bay, tomatoes, lime, teriyaki, and Coke, or any kind of cola. It could be Pepsi, doesn't matter, RC. You're probably wondering, why is there Coke? Well, let me tell you why. I've been using that for years. It adds flavor that you really cannot get from any other type of marinade. And the Coke just does something to the fish, and you can also use it on pork. Now you like to use it on steak as well, but let's stick with the fish. The Coke will add a lot of flavor. It will help break the meat down as well. And what you want to do is just mix all the marinade ingredients together and get that tomato in there and crush it in. Tomato gives a nice citrus. You know, the tomato will also help carry some of the marinade into the meat, because the citrus from the tomato will break down the fish meat. So once we get that done, we want to marinate both sides of the fish for 15-20 minutes. If you make enough marinade, you don't have to flip the fish. You know, just stick it in there. Make sure you put the fish in the refrigerator. Never, ever marinate room temperature. Always put it in the refrigerator. Fish is looking good. It's looking better all the time. Okay, after we marinate the fish, we want to bring it out and pat it down lightly. And then we're going to dip that in flour. Get that flour all over the fish. Get it into the cuts that you made. Get it into the belly. Rub it in good. I am working with one hand here. I'm sorry. So once you have your oils heated up, we will drop it into the pan, which I already done so. I'm going to fast forward a little bit. So the fish is looking really good right about now. I like to add a little bit of onion, a little bit of broccoli in as it's cooking, because it really gives that oil flavor, and that will seep into the fish. Here's something else I also like to do. I like to flip the fish up, belly down. And what that does, it allows it to cook from the belly up and really brings out a lot of flavor. So this fish is looking really good. About 15-20 minutes each side. Do not be afraid to check the fish to make sure it is done. The meat is white and cooked to the bone. Don't worry about messing up the fish. Most important thing is to get that fish cooked. So once we get the fish out, we will pat it dry. And then we will prepare a little sauce with butter, not oil. Because what we're doing, as you can see, I'm using some of the fish oil in that pan. Butter, a little bit of that fish oil. Do not use too much. It is very strong and full of flavor. It will overwhelm. And we're going to add some garlic. Add a little bit of cilantro as well. And a little bit of teriyaki sauce. Not too much teriyaki, so bring it to a boil very rapidly so it can thicken up a little bit. And the garlic will cook as well. So we have our fish. We patted it dry. It's looking good. And yes, I did pick off a few pieces of the fish, make sure it was cooked well. And I can't help it. I had to taste it. So I can't help myself on that. And that fish looks great. And we're going to take some of the broccoli and the onions, and we're going to dump it right on top of the fish. Now make sure you really dry out the broccoli and the onions. You don't want to carry too much of that oil from the pan. So I trust my sauce I made. In some countries, you want to call it gravy. Here in the United States, we call that a sauce. So I like to dump it right over top of the fish. If you're not sure, do not dump it over top of the fish. Keep it in a little separate bowl, and you can add it as needed. and you can test out the flavor, see if that's something you would like. But I have made this many times over, so I know I'm going to like it. And there you go. That is a pan-seared Key West grunt. I made that many times before. Always comes out fantastic. Again, the most important thing starts with the fish itself. Make sure that fish is fresh. And again, you can find the ingredients needed and the recipe on how to cook pan-seared whole fish at the end of this video. And please leave some comments. Please subscribe to my channel. And the next recipe I'm going to be adding is my homemade clam chowder white, or as we say, New England. You will not want to miss that recipe. So please let me know how you make out if you do try to use this recipe. And if you follow this pretty closely, I'm guaranteeing you, you will not be let down. You will be quite happy. All right, this is Chef Tucker for the Bunny Nose, and thank you for watching.